Hello everybody, Maven here, and the Edge of Fate is now just over 2 weeks away. We're so close, and you all know at this point, but recently we learned the artifact's going to be based around Solar, Stasis, and Strand. Those are the 3 premier subclasses that you're going to want to use in the Edge of Fate. And recently on the channel, I did a top 3 solar builds video, went over a solar build on each class that are going to be meta going into the Edge of Fate, did the same thing on Strand, and did the same thing on Stasis. And some of you guys asked if I was going to do one of these top 3 builds videos for Prismatic, and so here we are today. And I'll be sure to leave timestamps down below for all 3 characters if you would like to skip around to your preferred character of choice. And now let's break down some Prismatic builds. Hope you enjoy. Shout out to our sponsor, Advanced GG, the #1 gaming supplement in the world. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off. Link down below. Thank you. All right, so let's get to it. And for those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you might know that this is the part of the video where I usually turn off my camera and start reading from a script of talking points I have on a notepad on the other side of my screen. But today I decided to shake things up and do things a little bit differently and leave my camera on and basically freestyle the video. No script at all. This is just off the top of my head. So if you're into this kind of thing, let me know. But I feel like having the camera on is that little additive that just like makes it feel a little bit more personal, if that makes any sense. So let me know if you like this kind of thing. So we're going to start off on Prismatic Titan first, because I feel like this is the class that is getting like the most affected by the changes coming in Edge of Fate, mainly because of one in particular where ignition damage is no longer buffed by, you know, melee damage scaling. So if you stack with like Worm God or Synthos, like your consecrations are not going to be any stronger. Ignitions across the board are going to have like a flat amount of damage they do. So after a year-long reign of terror, Prismatic Titan may finally be coming to an end in terms of the meta. You know, it's been so strong for so long, but yeah. So what is the next strongest Prismatic Titan build going to be? Is it still going to be the same old Prismatic Consecration spam build? Like, it just might be. But I think that the next best build, and this one's a little bit of a doozy, but I had to do some digging. So 5-ish or 6-ish months ago, I did a video on a Prismatic Titan build that I called the Limp Consecration build. So basically, when you consecrate, you press your melee twice, right? You do your first press to leap up into the air, and your second press to slam down and send out the wave of fire. And this Limb Consecration build is basically spamming only the first half that just lifts you up, and that's it. Done. You're not going to slam down. The reason for this is because we're using the exotic class item using the perks of Spirit of Inmost Light as well as Spirit of Contact, which for those who don't know, Spirit of Point Contact Cannon Brace. And the Point Contact Cannon Brace, what it does is when you hit an enemy with a melee attack, it creates this very large reaching jolting lightning strike. It just tracks towards enemies and jolts them. It's extremely good for ad clear. And that first limp half of your consecration counts as a melee hit. So therefore you can just spam that. It's way more spammable too, because when you only do the limp half, it only consumes half your melee charge and not the full charge like a normal consecration does. So it's way more spammable. The AoE jolt is like way better for ad clear. It's just the only thing that this build's gonna lack, in, like compared to the Syntho version, is obviously the damage to like 1-shot champions and like 2-shot bosses. Like, it's not gonna do that, but it's gonna be a lot more spammable and a lot more ad cleary, and you're just gonna have to find alternate ways to deal with those fatter targets via your weapons or some other means, or you can just use your full slam charges. But it's a lot more spammable this way. And so yeah, that's the idea of the build, as you can probably tell by the background gameplay if there is any. It's very, very good at ad clear, and I actually used this build in day 1 of Sundered Doctrine. It's actually not too bad. I used it in the second encounter, the Zoetic Lock set. That's the build I used for my clear on day 1. But now let's break down our subclass here. Obviously we got Consecration and Knockout, and that brings me to another topic where Knockout plus like Worm God, like with just basic like uncharged punches, could be another potential Prismatic Titan build to use. But Knockout may not be the most needed thing in the world, since we're not going for like the full Consecration slams the majority of the time. So you could replace it with like Diamond Lance if you wanted to, but Knockout can still come in handy here and there. It's up to you. And then for the fragment setup, we got Balance, Hope, Purpose, and Awakening. I feel like this is like a solid combination of 4 mods to run in any kind of like prismatic melee-based build. You know, boost your class ability, regenerate, get overshields because we're using a Void Super in the Twilight Arsenal, and get some elemental pickups, you know, like Ionic Traces from the Jolting, or like from the Consecration we can make like Fire Sprites or something like that, you know. It's pretty good. And then onto our mod setup, it's basically just geared towards spamming a lot of abilities. We got like Impact Induction and Focusing Strike, and then like these boot mods like Absolution and Invigoration and stuff like that. And no Kickstarter mods. Typically on my builds, I like to run like a Kickstarter mod as a payoff for making all these Orbs of Power. But not this time. Our Orbs are just going towards these boot-based mods and just generating ability energy just straight off the bat. And then as you can see, we also have an arc loader on our gloves. And this is because if we move on to our loadout here, we got that GL. I'm forgetting the name right now, but it's the GL from the Nether activity. And it's Pugilist and Roiling Storm. So Roiling Storm is going to allow us to get a lot of bolt charge going just to make our build that much stronger. And then Pugilist, obviously, generating melee energy is what we want. I previously used to run the Aberrant Action with Demo and Pugilist on this build, but I switched over to this thing because I feel like it's pretty solid. I'd recommend farming the expert version of Nether and going for the runneth over version of this GL, but I'm just using the basic one for now. Monte Carlo in the kinetic slot, we're getting Overload Auto Rifle and SMG in the next season, but you could also run something else if you want, because we can already deal with overloads via our consecrations because they now jolt, because thanks to our Spirit of Contact Cannon Brace. So you can replace that with whatever other champion mod thing you need to run next season. And then in the heavy slot, I'm just running an Eager Edge Sword to get around, but you can just run like a GL or a rocket launcher if you need some damage, if you're not the type of person that Eager Edge skates. So that's basically going to do it for our Prismatic Titan build for the day. You know, the Prismatic Titan used to be the big dog in Destiny 2 when it came to like melee builds. But step aside because there's a new melee person in town, and that's the Warlock. The Warlock has kind of stolen the thunder when it comes to Prismatic Consecration, because this is also a build that I have covered on the channel semi-recently. A few months ago, it was a video titled something along the lines of how to be a Warlock and a Titan at the same time. And I call this my Titan Lock build. So you know how on Prismatic Titan you would use the exotic class item combining the perks of Inmost Light and Synthoceps just to spam consecrations? Well, we are doing the same exact thing, same exact fragment setup, same exact mod setup, everything that Titan did, but on Warlock, and instead we're just using Electro Slides instead of consecrations. It's the same thing, you know, you get free Frenzied Blade charges, you get 3 Threaded Needle charges. You're just Electro Sliding, same exact thing, except arguably better. Because on Warlock, you got Feed the Void, so you get Devour going, so you can spam more nades, which can then contribute to proccing Inmost Light more, so you can like get more melee energy from like Inmost Light triggers. Secondly, there is the Electro Slide also grants you Bolt Charge. It grants you an absurd amount of Bolt Charge. It just stacks up so fast, and you can just get those free lightning strikes everywhere. And yeah, that's basically all we're doing. And it's not nerfed in any way like Prismatic Titan is, because Prismatic Titan obviously got affected heavily by the ignition change. But this one, no difference whatsoever. If anything, it's stronger. You're still going to have the full 165% damage from Synthoceps just spamming everywhere. And we got the Aberrant Action this time with the Demo and the Pugilist enhanced so that we can spam nades, spam melees, and just spam those slides everywhere. Very, very good build. And then when it comes to our fragments, since this basically is a Titan build, it's the same exact fragment setup of Balance, Hope, Purpose, and Awakening. Same thing. Balance, very important. Or what is it? Purpose, what is it? Hope? Hope is very important because it boosts our class ability regenerate. And if we go on over to our mod setup, it's very geared towards getting back our class ability. You know, like we have Focusing Strike. I think we have Bolstering Detonation. We have Utility Kickstart. Just everything, like we have Insulation as well in our boots. Like everything geared towards getting back our Phoenix Dive. And I know that may sound weird, but I've tinkered around with this build a lot. And my explanation as to why we're so dang focused on getting back Phoenix Dive is because that is the one missing link in being able to continually proc Inmost Light. Because if we're using Inmost Light as our exotic class item, it, like, when you use one of your abilities, it empowers the other two abilities. So if we're just only focusing on grenade melee, we're only going to have like one stack at a time. But if we throw class ability into the mix, we're going to be able to like constantly keep up 2 stacks of Inmost Light, so our abilities recharge way faster. And that is like the one thing that you would otherwise struggle getting back. So we focus all on that with our mods, and it gives you the most out of Inmost Light. So it just works out. It's one of those just trust me type of moments where it'll just work out way better than you think it does. Every time you get back a nade or a Phoenix Dive, just use them immediately. Just don't even think about it, just use them, and it'll make your build flow so much better. So onto our loadout. Again, it's kind of like the same exact deal as Titan, because again, it's basically the same build. In your kinetic slot, run whatever the heck you need to run for champion mods next season. And then in your heavy slot, I'm just, again, using Eager Edge Sword to get around. You can use a GL, you can use a rocket launcher, whatever you need to do. Very, very strong build. I've seen people solo Grandmasters with it. Go check out channels like Esoteric or Sutek or Special Hero. You'll probably find a video or 2 of them using this build in solo Grandmasters. Very, very good. And that's going to do it for our Prismatic Warlock build today. And finally, moving on to the Hunter. And we saved the best for last because this is not even arguably the most broken build that we're covering today. I'm just going to say it straight up, not clickbait. It's broken. Use this build if you're a Hunter player. So it may not be nearly as aggressive as the Warlock build, but it definitely is the most broken because it is God mode. It just doesn't die. I covered this build recently on the channel as well, like 4-ish months ago. It is my Invincible Hunter build, and it was inspired by Sutek, a name that we just went over recently. Sutek is probably the best GM solo speedrunner in the world. If you want to see him like get world records in every solo GM ever, just go watch his channel. It's Sutekk. Go check him out. Awesome content. And I saw him use this build in solo Birthplace of the Vile Grandmaster, and I took it and I changed it up a lot and made it my own, but credits to him for creating the concept. Now this build, it survives in an unfathomable amount of ways. One of the biggest ways is going to be that our class item is going to be combining the perks of Inmost Light and Surturacti's Facade. So we can basically use Surturacti's Facade to like spam nades and then like get Woven Mail every time we use a nade, which is going to be a 45% resist. And combined with like our whole setup and like with Inmost Light, we're going to be able to have basically infinite uptime of Woven Mail. So that's step number 1. That's a 45% resist right there. Step 2, the other big important thing is our weapons. We're using the Multi-Mock, which has Attrition Orbs and Kinetic Tremors. Best SMG in the game. If you do not have it, go pick it up at Banshee. If you already picked it up from Banshee and dismantled it, I'm sorry, but you cannot get it anymore unless you go farm Iron Banana. But this thing is nasty, makes a lot of orbs, like makes like a couple orbs for spamming 1 mag at a target, and Kinetic Tremors makes you always do good damage. Secondly, we're using the Versus Velocity Baton in our energy slot with Demolitionist and Attrition Orbs. Demolitionist not only great for recharging our Dusk Fields so that we can like keep up Woven Mail with our Surturacti's Facade, but also Attrition Orbs on an area denial frame is disgusting because you make like 3 orbs per shot. Just shoot it at a target, it just rains orbs, and then you just like go scoop them up, and that's going to be proccing fast at a purpose as one of our fragments that is going to give us overshields because we got Avoid Super. So just making it rain with orbs, scooping up the orbs, getting overshields. And then we're going to spam infinite dodges and like infinite abilities. So we got Winter Shroud. So every time we dodge near an enemy, we slow them. And every time we use our Stasis Shurikens, we slow enemies. And that's just going to boost the heck out of our dodge regenerate. And that's going to allow us to use Powerful Attraction on our class item, which is going to allow us to like just keep on constantly scooping up the orbs every time we dodge, giving us overshields, and everything we kill is going to make us invis because we've got Stylish Executioner and everything is slowed and or frozen. So everything makes us invis. We got 1,000,000 resist. We got Faceted Protection as well, giving us a 15% resist when we're like around enemies, which is going to be happening constantly. It's just disgusting. So many orbs, so much abilities, so much survival, invis, all that good stuff. On our mod setup, you may see a little bit of an anomaly here. We have 2 yellow mods. Typically when I make a build, or when you make a build, you should only run 1 yellow mod as a payoff for your armor charge. But because this build makes just an unfathomable amount of orbs, we're able to run 2 yellow mods. We got Grenade Kickstart, obviously, for Duskfield spam, and then we got Special Finisher because we're non-stop spamming our Versus Velocity Baton. That's basically our primary weapon, and we never want to run out of ammo for it. And just at the amount we're generating orbs, we can basically just run 2 of these yellow mods as armor charge payoffs. And then the rest is like focusing on our boot mods to like give us a bunch of ability energy with like Absolution and Innervation and stuff like that. And then moving on to the rest of our loadout, just on your heavy slot, you can run whatever the heck you want. You can run Anarchy for damage. I'm running Thunderlord for like to get Bolt Charge going. And I was running it mainly for heavy ordnance regeneration, which is not going to be a thing in Edge of Fate. So you can just run whatever. I don't think it really matters. Just run something for damage. Something exotic that does 1,000,000 damage, like Parasite, for example, would be a pretty solid option. But yeah, this build, straight up broken. Invincible, does not die. I think I've only died once ever using it, and when I tried to do a solo Grandmaster Mars Battlegrounds, and I died like in the boss room. I think that's like the only time I ever died using this build. Other than that, literal God mode. And this is probably the Hunter build that I'm going to be loading into Edge of Fate on. Yeah, definitely. I was considering Stasis, but this one is just too good. Anyways, that's going to do it for all 3 of our prismatic builds for the day. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. And there's obviously a lot of honorable mentions, you know, like on Prismatic Hunter, there's the Liar's Handshake build. On Warlock, you can easily run the Getaway Artist Bleak Watcher build. Like, these builds are still good. They're still fine. You still use them and dominate with them, but these are just the builds that I'd recommend, mainly because my playstyle is more aggressive. If that's not your playstyle, you can just go with those other like gunplay builds, Getaway Artist, and something else. I don't know. But yeah, this is just my recommendations. So I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, be sure to hit a like button. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here for more Edge of Fate content on the way. If you like this thing where I have the face cam on for the entire video and just like freestyling it, let me know. But I feel like I'd rather read off a script at the end of the day because, you know, because if I'm just freestyling like this, I'll miss talking points, and that's happened in the past because I used to sometimes freestyle videos in the past and I would miss certain points, and then like after I upload the video, I'd have to like type in the pinned comment like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. So yeah, having a script definitely helps with making sure you say everything you need to say. Anyways, that's gonna do it for our rambling today, and I will catch you in the next video. See you later.